Avengers: Infinity War is by far the most anticipated film of 2018. It's been 10 years since the start of the MCU with Iron Man's first film, which arguably marks the start of great superhero films, with each of their story events leading up to this one movie. It's a pretty big deal, and it's to be expected that the film is loaded with Easter eggs, just like all the ones prior to it. So today we're breaking down those Easter eggs and references for you right here on Top 10 Nerd. And of course, there are spoilers, like a ton of spoilers in this video, big time, including one about the end of the film. You've been warned. Now before we begin, we just wanted to give a big shout out to Amino for sponsoring this video. Amino is an app that connects you with a mobile network of communities and whatever fandoms or interests you have, letting you mingle with all of those who share the same kinds of loves that you do, including all things comic books and Marvel. There's one for the MCU, one for Marvel DC fans, another for Marvel Legends, and even one for Marvel Roleplay, and like a ton for DC too. So what does being a part of these Amino communities mean? Well, not only do you get an awesome feed of content created by other diehard fans like yourself, but you can also check out polls, take quizzes, chat with other users, and, in one of my favorite features, check out what you've missed at the biggest conventions, like Comic-Con, CinemaCon, or even E3, giving you a window into people's experiences. It lets you check things out in real time with a feature called Live Layer, which is a pop-up tab that shows you what's happening with everyone in the community, ensuring that you'll never get a bad case of FOMO when it comes to MCU updates ever again. And I think we're all too familiar with those feels. So definitely check Amino out today, friends. Alright, now on to the Easter eggs with our list of the top 10 Easter eggs you missed in Avengers: Infinity War. And one last reminder, there are so many spoilers, I am so sorry, you have been warned. And at number 10, Vormir. Leading up to the film, there was a whole lot of speculation about where the Soul Stone, the last of the Infinity Stones, was hiding. From Wakanda to Titan, there was no shortage of theories. Turns out, none of them were right. The Soul Stone was actually located on Vormir, the sixth planet in the Helghantar system that in the comics is part of the Kree Empire, and creatures called Vorms, lizard worms, live there. They've made a few appearances in the comics interacting with the likes of Thor. Now they don't appear in the film when Thanos pays the planet a visit, but someone else does, Red Skull. After his death in 1945, he was transported there, or rather his spirit was, to become the guardian of the Soul Stone. What an unexpected surprise. And at number 9, Stan Lee. Of course Stan Lee makes a cameo in the film. That's expected. This time around, Stan appears as a school bus driver, driving the bus that Peter Parker and his classmates are on, during a scene which some of you may remember from the trailer where an alien ship appears in the air. When everyone sees the ship, everyone on the bus freaks out, except Stan Lee, who merely states, "What's the matter with you? You've never seen a spaceship before?" Oh, Stan Lee. And at number 8, Arrested Development. The Russo's brothers' initial claim to fame wasn't the MCU films. Rather, it was Arrested Development. The duo had directed multiple episodes of the cult hit, and they even slipped in a little Easter egg referencing the show in Captain America's Civil War, the staircase car that Cap runs on in the airport battle. This time around, they've snuck another one in. But this one is much harder to spot. In a glass case of the Collectors, a character whose collections have already given us a few great Easter eggs in the past, you can spot a certain figure. You may notice that there's a blue figurine wearing cutoff shorts in the glass case. This is a reference to Arrested Development character Tobias, and when he attempted to join the Blue Man Group. And at number 7, Defender. Throughout the film, you may notice that teenage Groot is carrying around a handheld video game. Aside from being the cutest thing ever, turns out that the game he's playing has an interesting and fitting story. The game is Defender, a 1981 horizontally scrolling shoot-'em-up arcade game that was later ported to the Atari 2600 and other consoles. Turns out Defender has a very similar storyline to that of Infinity War. You must destroy alien invaders and protect astronauts from being hurt and abducted. How relevant. And at number 6, we have a Hulk. Towards the beginning of the film, as the Asgardian refugee ship makes its way to a new settlement on Earth, Thanos shows up. Loki makes a stand against the Mad Titan, and before everything goes to hell, he utters a line that you'll all remember from the Avengers that came from Tony Stark. We have a Hulk.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Up next, number 5, we've got Reality Stone Throwback. Being adapted from a massive comic franchise, it makes perfect sense that certain sequences, actions, or behaviors of characters depicted in the panels would make their way onto the big screen. Such is the case when Thanos exhibits his power with the Reality Stone. Taking place in a scene on Nowhere, Thanos pulls a little trick with Drax and Mantis to subdue them. He turns Drax's body into blocks, and Mantis's into ribbons. This is a tactic that he uses in the comics, but with 2 other characters, Eros and Nebula. Regardless, it still shows Thanos' power and what he's capable of with the Reality Stone, and it definitely ain't pretty. Up next, number 4, Alien reference. Who doesn't love a good horrific alien reference? When Spider-Man and Iron Man attempt to free Doctor Strange from Ebony Maw's control in the film, there's a moment where Peter pulls inspiration from the Alien franchise and sucks Ebony Maw out of a breach in the ship's hull, tossing him into outer space and to his death. Peter also makes another reference later on in a bit of dialogue when he mentions that if any aliens appear and try to lay eggs in his chest, he won't be having any of that. Up next at 3, Thanos and Spider-Man. Speaking of Peter Parker, Parker, in another panel-to-frame adaptation, Spider-Man takes a shot at Thanos in the film as he does in the comics, and what we see on the screen is almost identical to what happened in the panels. During the Titan sequence in the film, Peter flings his web into Thanos' eye like he does in the comics. Thanos also tosses the web-slinger down onto the ground in a very similar way to what his illustrated self did. And at number 2, the snap. One of the most devastating moments in the comics is when Thanos has assembled all the Infinity Gems into the Infinity Gauntlet, and snaps his fingers. By snapping, he eliminates half of humanity, causing people to fade away and disappear. It's a tremendous and horrific show of power, and the moment makes it into Infinity War as one of the final moments of the film, having dire consequences just as it does in the comics. But fear not, friends, those of you familiar with the story arc may know what happens to reverse those events. While we don't get that saving grace moment in the film, our next number hints that not all hope is lost. And last but not least, in our number 1 spot, the post-credit sequence. If all of that wasn't enough for you, the post-credit sequence is a bit of a whopper. While everyone is fading away, Nick Fury, aka Samuel L. Jackson, makes his last moments count. He busts out a beeper-looking device and sends a distress call. For starters, in classic Samuel L. Jackson snakes on a plane behavior, he shouts out an incomplete word that rhymes with motherbucker. So who is he calling? Well, the screen on his device flashes a logo of a certain hero that we had high hopes of having a cameo in Infinity War, none other than Captain Marvel. It's safe to say that the Avengers 4 film will definitely include Brie Larson's upcoming character. Alright, there we have it, friends. Did you see any of these coming? Which Easter eggs surprised you the most? Let us know in those comments below. There's also a lot of other Easter eggs that we didn't touch on this list, because we only have 10 numbers. So if you guys want to see a part 2, give us a shout about that as well. Also, one more big thank you to Amino for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to check them out. Top 10 Nerd has an account, so when you download it, make sure you link up with us and say hi. We've also dived pretty deep into the MCU Amino quizzes, so let's see if you guys can one-up us and beat our high scores. To find out how you can join, check out the link in the description below for more details. Also, if you're hungry for more Infinity War, we've got a whole playlist filled with videos currently flashing on your screen right now that you should definitely check out. In the meantime though, thanks for watching everybody. I'll catch you all in the next video.